Go. Apologies for the audio. We're still having a little bit of streaming difficulty. I think that's going to fix it. Um, all right, so starting from the top, welcome in. It is This Week in A.B.A.T.E. We're sorry for the delays, the audio issues. Facebook keeps popping up some lovely windows where it wants us to add all these paid features to our streams. Starting out talking about the State House. When I came on last Wednesday, there were about 1,800 bills that had been filed down there at the State House. By the end of Friday, we were at 3,200, which means about 1,400 bills have been filed, and I think we're about 3,400 now, so about 1,600 bills have been filed in the last week. Using software that we use for A.B.A.T.E. of Illinois, we identified 107 bills that we wanted to somewhat keep an eye on. We're actively tracking 68 of those. And of those 68, there's probably going to be a list of about 20 to 30 that comes out here this weekend and will be sent out in an email to our membership on Monday. Some more Statehouse Shenanigan type stuff that is going on down there. A lot of people have talked about Speaker Madigan and everything going on with him. Speaker Madigan resigned. Former House Speaker Mike Madigan, Representative Mike Madigan, and now former Representative Mike Madigan, all in the span of a few weeks. The funny thing is, when he resigned, he appointed a replacement. That replacement also resigned as of today. Now, it leads to this very interesting statistic. This just shows you how screwy politics can get in Illinois. Somebody went and looked for the only 3 representatives that are still living that served when Mike Madigan was not in the House. 2 of them are over 90 years old. The third one is this 26-year-old young man that served as state representative for about 3 days before resigning today. That really says something. When 2 90-year-olds and a 26-year-old are the only people that have ever served, the guy that did 3 days, that tells you how long that went on for. Speaking of state house type stuff, we're going to go into a little bit of bills later on, but one of the things that kind of shows how things work, we're going to go into it a little bit later on, so stay with us on that. One thing I did want to get into before I bring Chris on with me and talk about steel is I wanted to bring up, if you were paying attention at the beginning of the broadcast, we started out with Easy Rider, a very famous movie, very well known. Well, the reason why I did that is because Easy Rider has a very interesting connection to Black History Month, which this is the last week of February, traditionally known as Black History Month. So my challenge to you is this. If you're watching this and you can comment before the end of this broadcast what the connection is from Easy Rider to African American motorcycle history, go ahead and comment it. Let me know. If you don't get it by the end of this broadcast, come find me this weekend at Steel and tell me what it is. There's a very interesting prize for anybody who can tell me what that connection is. So, speaking of steel, steel is going to be this weekend coming up. It is February 26th through the 28th, right here in Springfield, where I am broadcasting from. And to talk more about that, I am going to bring on Chris Hansen. Chris, welcome to the show this evening. Let's talk steel.
All right, let's talk it. It's what, 2 days away now? At 3? I don't even know what day it is, but yeah, it's this weekend. It's gonna be good. There's gonna be a lot going on starting on Friday night. That's for sure.
Yeah, we start Friday night. Registration will be open right around 4 or so, I believe, maybe even earlier than that. It is at the Northfield Inn. I understand we've got 180, 190 people that are registered at this point, something like that.
Yeah, we're almost to 200, which is phenomenal considering didn't nothing happened last year or so far this year. So yeah, there's a lot of anxious people ready to go. And yes, we almost got 200 already.
Okay, and to make clear, I mean, yeah, we've got close to 200 people, but we are working with, social distancing requirements. We are going to be properly spaced out. I heard that they've almost doubled the size of the ballroom for the evening banquet on Saturday night to help with that social distancing. Is that right?
Yeah, Kathy Brush has been working with the hotel on this. They actually are moving the auctions into a different room so that everything can be spread out. Dinner is completely different, where they're going to be serving you Yeah, there's only 6 people to a table, yeah, and everything is spread out. Masks are going to be, asked to be on. So yeah, we're doing everything we can to take precautions with the COVID, and to work with the Northfield Inn so as we don't get them into trouble, because the last thing we want to do is get a business in trouble that's helped us out over the years numerous times.
Yeah, that's no joke. Northfield Inn has been very good. Don Mason, I see you down in the comments. You're very, very close. Ben Hardy's not the individual I'm looking for, though. Let's see what else you got. Um, who was the designer? I'll put it to you that way, Don. Anyway, so Chris, going on about steel here. Um, what all do we expect? What's going to go on for steel?
Well, Friday night you've got the opening, I guess, ceremony you would call it. Our get together. They do have the hospitality room going, and then that Friday night is going to be the auction, the live auction for ABATE pack. Or no, wait, Fed pack on Friday. I'm sorry. So Fed pack is Friday night. You can get your auction there, and then obviously Saturday in the morning we start with the regional meetings where you meet with your region, go over everything happening in your region, and then we go into session where we're going to have some guest speakers. Obviously, we'll hear from Ryan Hubbard, our coordinator, and Mike, the safety and ed guy, and then I know you've got Dan Calkins coming in to talk, the state rep. And we'll go through that and then break off into 3 sessions, of which, if you saw the post on Facebook, Kathy released the schedule of classes. So there are grassroots classes, there's a president's meeting, there's PR classes where I'll be covering how to use social media, there's safety and ed classes, there's a ton of them. The whole schedule's out so you can get an idea of what you want to do. And then ABATE Pack has their auction and dinner and everything on Saturday night, and then Sunday we go home. It is going to be all about social media, how to integrate Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, all that into your chapter, and how to utilize it for you to be out more in the public eye, your community, to spread the word about what ABATE is, what it is we do, and basically the pros, cons, what you should not do on social media will be a part of that. So it's going to be covering every aspect of social media, because I know I've been pushing chapters on this to get more involved with social media in their chapters, and it's not always the easiest thing to understand. So I'm basically there to help and try and get you further along in your social media so we can get ABATE more out in the public eye.
Yeah, that's very good that we're going to be having that again. It's a temporary mute, guys. When you're seeing what it is that things are popping up on screen here, and it changes a hotkey in the studio, unfortunately. So just bear with us as it goes on. It's something that we hope to have fixed for next week. Anyway, so going on about that, about the PR stuff, some of the stuff that legislative's bringing is Tracy Matherly. You are the winner, buddy. That was the connection there. A lot of people got that Clifford Vaughn was the designer, but the more important part about this is that Clifford Vaughn was omitted for his contributions for 40 years. It wasn't until 2009 that he was recognized as the builder of the Captain America bike, or the designer of the Captain American bike. And Mr. Hardy, I believe it was Brett Hardy or Chris Hardy, I think it was Brett Hardy, I believe, was the gentleman that helped build along with him. Anyway, going back to what we're presenting, what we're going to be presenting, the legislative stuff. I'm going to be talking about the future of transportation, talking about grassroots stuff, and then talking about the legislative toolbox. But also, in addition to this, we're going to be having a membership roundtable that's going to be available. That membership roundtable is going to be a 2-hour deal where you can come in, leave, do whatever you want. But we're going to be talking to you, the members, about what's interesting to you. Chris, go ahead and kind of talk a little bit about that.
Well, we've said it numerous times, as chapters and everything, that there has been that, I guess I would call it, assumed disconnect between the state level and the chapters and everything going on. So, all right, here's your chance. You are a member. We want you, your voices to be heard. We want to know what you're concerned with, what you want to see, what ideas you have to bring to the table that can help us move forward or maybe think about going in a direction we haven't thought of before. I mean, I know there's a lot of people that have complained or brought complaints to the table. Well, now here's your chance to bring a solution to the table and say, hey, why don't we try this? Or this is what I was thinking, or hey, maybe this could work. This is your chance to get, let your voices be heard and get your opinions out there on what you think we should or shouldn't do or try or anything from there. So this is your chance.
Alrighty, and lest anybody think that this is just a boring weekend of trying to learn things, like Chris mentioned, we do have the big banquet Saturday night. We have a gathering Friday night. It's a good chance to socialize, a good chance to meet members from all around the state. Please be there. It's going to be February 26th, 28th, right here in Springfield. Chris and I have got stuff that we've got to prepare, so we're going to try to zip through the rest of this. Chris, what are the other events we've got going on through the state?
Well, we have got a busy March. There is no doubt about that. And we're going to kick off with the first event starting on March 6th. Heart of Illinois A.B.A.T.E has their cornhole tournament. That is at the Eagles Club in Bloomington, and they are looking for cornhole tossers, according to the flyer. It's $5 entries, and the sign up is from noon to 1, and then the tournament starts. So make sure you're down in Bloomington for that. And then the very next day, on the 7th of March, Will County has got their winter triathlon. And again, I know we've said this, but if you have not participated in this, you definitely need to try it out. It's fun as hell. It's at Zelmo's Full Moon Saloon in Joliet. And registration's at 11, games start at noon. And basically what they do is they team you up with a stranger, a random partner, and you compete in pool, darts, and bags, and see who can take home the prize. That's $15 a person, and it does include lunch. So that is definitely a good day. I've done it before. Definitely a fun event. And then we will move on to the following weekend, March 13th. So this could be a busy day if you have nothing going on. So the Duquesne chapter has got a Daytona 200 motorcycle race watch party. We're going to be doing that at Calamity Jane's in Sugar Grove, meeting there at 11:30 a.m. We'll get together, have some lunch, have a couple drinks, watch the Daytona 200 motorcycle races for those that can't make it down to Daytona. Just a fun event to watch some motorcycle racing, socialize, have a good time. So again, we'll start that at 11:30. Now that morning of the 13th, Kishwaukee Valley A.B.A.T.E has got their 21 chapter breakfast. That's from 8 in the morning till 11 in the morning at Neighbors Bar and Grill in Loves Park. It's $7 per breakfast, and it's a full breakfast being served. So you can start off your day on the 13th with breakfast with Kishwaukee Valley. And then what you can do from there, you can shoot on down to Dixon, to the VFW post down there in Dixon, and take part in the Northwest Region 15th Annual Chile Shootout. Sandy works real hard to get this event put together every year. So that starts at 3 o'clock. So leave breakfast, head on down to Dixon. From 3 to 7, they are going to have a Chile Shootout. Last entry's in at 4. So that you can have some fun with that. It's $5 per person, and there's trophies for the first 3 places. They've got a bake sale going on. You can bring your individually wrapped brownies, cakes, whatever you want, and do that. There's a silent auction from 4 to 5:30, and all the proceeds go to A.B.A.T.E of Illinois State PAC. So that is going to be a definite good event. So you can make a whole day of events on the 13th. And then shooting to the following weekend on March 21st, we're back at Duquesne as we have our 4th annual A.B.A.T Bowling Classic. That is at Bolero in Glendale Heights. It's $15 a person for 2 games and shoes, and for an extra $10, you can get into the 9-pin no-tap tournament. It's 2 p.m. start. Registration starts at 1. There's numerous prizes. Law Tigers is giving stuff away. Toy Shop out of Arlington Heights is giving away 2 hours of free work, and all the proceeds from that go to the Downed Riders Fund for Duquesne. And then the following weekend, on the 27th of March, Black Hawk chapter of A.B.A.T Illinois has got their Broomstick pool tournament. That's at Jim's Knoxville Tap. Sign-ups at 5 p.m. and it's $5 a person. They're also throwing a chili cook-off in there, so you're going to get your fill of chili in February and March. So yeah, definitely check that out. Like I said, $5 a person to play pool in a tournament and have some chili. I mean, nothing wrong with that. Chili's going to be $1 per bowl, so make sure you've got that. And then I just want to remind everybody again that the Open Roads chapter has their summer books available. You get out and ride. You got 45 different stops where you stop, get a stamp, fill out the book, and then obviously turn that in towards the end of the year. Just another excuse to get out and ride. So Open Roads has got their books up. Contact that chapter. Contact Linda Olson over there at Open Roads. Any questions or getting your book. And then just announced today, April 30th to May 2nd, Lincoln Land chapter is having Freedom Fest. And Josh, this is actually your event, so I'm going to let you cover that since it is your chapter.
Thank you very much, Chris. I appreciate it. Yeah, so Freedom Fest is something that was just announced. We finally signed the deal with the fairgrounds. The fairgrounds last year, we were supposed to have it. We were doing it at the Christian County Fairgrounds. It's not just a Lincoln Land event. It's Lincoln Land and Mid-State. It is designed to coincide with the Freedom Rally. The Freedom Rally is on May 2nd here in Springfield. This is the big rally where all motorcycles come in from around the state. So the Freedom Fest is a weekend-long party prior to the Freedom Rally. It's going to be at the Christian County Fairgrounds. Lincoln Land and Mid-State are working on it together. It's $10 admission with free primitive camping for the entire weekend. After that, it's $20 a night if you have to do a camper hookup. But the point of this is, not only are we going to be able to do the Freedom Fest, which was canceled last year, but we're also doing the Freedom Rally down at the Capitol May 2nd. So keep that on your long-term plans. Speaking of the Capitol, kind of going back into some of the Statehouse stuff going on. Apologies, there's a lot going on here tonight. I mentioned all the bills that we follow and all the different things. Like I said, there's 107 that we're initially looking at out of about 3,400, give or take. Give an idea as to how complex this can get at times. Senate Bill 58 was agreed upon language between us and the Auto Dealers Association. And what it does is it fixes the car trade-in issue. The original version of this bill last year would have raised taxes on motorcycles. The auto dealers got with us, took motorcycles out of it. We took care of the issue last year. However, when the new GA started, they filed a version that had a header from the old bill, but the language from the new bill. So if you read the header, it looks like it raises taxes on motorcycles, but if you read the bill, motorcycles are excluded. This is the kind of stuff that we deal with. But then even more fun, the House version of that same bill was filed, and when it was filed, it was the old language. So it does raise taxes on motorcycles. So we had to call the auto dealers again, say, hey, what's going on with this? But in addition to that, I put out the call to Piasaw Gateway chapter down in Alton, because one of their representatives, State Representative A.B.A.T.E, signed on to this House bill that would have raised taxes on motorcycles. Now understand, nobody was intending to raise taxes on motorcycles. They thought they were signing on to the good language that had been agreed upon. But because some staffer filed the wrong language, this is how it looked at. But anyway, I reached out to Piasaw Gateway. Piasaw Gateway went, sat down, Legs Corte and the legislative coordinator down there, sat down with Amy, had a talk with her, and members of Piasaw Gateway made the phone calls like they were asked to do. And because of that, she is going to be pulling off as a sponsor. She isn't off as of today, but she's going to be. But this is the kind of confusing stuff that happens down at the State House, and it's what the value is in having an organization like ours, where we have people that can make sense of all the fun and confusion down there. So speaking of more fun and more confusion, as it were, hang on here, give me just one moment looking at something. Speaking of more fun confusion down there, the trailer plates issue. The trailer plates. House Bill 36 takes the trailer plate back from $118 down to $18 again. It was moved into Revenue Committee. House Bill 682, which makes it a permanent 118 in terms of you just pay it one time, is still sitting at first reading, and Senate Bill 69, which is the Senate bill which would do the same, is unfortunately still sitting at assignments committee over there in the Senate. So that's where we're at with those trailer plates. It's one of those things. We're going to keep watching it. We hope to see everything move forward with it. Hard telling what's going to happen there. Speaking of, we don't know what's exactly going on. We've got some of the off-road issues that have finally popped up. For anybody who's been following some of the other off-road groups, there's been a movement going on to try to get off-road vehicles on county highways and any road that's 55 miles an hour or under. There are 4 different versions of basically different language for that. One's a Senate bill, there's 3 House bills. 2 of the House bills are the same. The 3rd House bill changes the definition of ATVs. We're totally against that. This is an issue that I don't hear a lot about from our membership, but we hear a lot about from other off-road groups that are out there that are trying to get this through. They've been trying to do it for about 4 or 5 years now. Here's the deal. We are positioned to where A.B.A.T.E of Illinois, if we were asked to, we could start working on something like this. We don't see a conflict with our other off-road issues. But since we don't have membership pushing for it, it's not something that we're actively pushing for. We're simply watching and serving as a technical resource for those that are involved. So I thought I would put that out there. If you've got off-road people that are really, really interested in seeing this ability to use off-road vehicles on county and rural roads, they probably should be getting active in A.B.A.T.E. Because we are probably the only group that's well positioned to really work that issue. Other off-road issues happening. There's House Bill 2361 and Senate Bill 150, and both of these bills change the definition of an ATV. They change the size of it to something ridiculous. They also get rid of the requirement that you have to straddle a bench and use handlebars or a grip up there. Basically what this is designed to do is to allow the very large turbocharged side-by-sides access to our off-road parks. So I want you to think about that. I want you to think about a new rider starting out, young kid, 5 years old, 7, 8, 9, 10, starting out on their first dirt bike, their first four-wheeler. And they're using these parks that are funded through the Off-Highway Vehicle Grant Program. And now as they're riding along, they get clipped by one of these turbocharged side-by-sides. And particularly, this is one manufacturer, Polaris. If you have a Polaris dealer that you work with, an Indian dealer, which is also Polaris, feel free to go in there and ask them why they think a turbocharged side-by-side should be zipping along newer, younger riders in these protected parks that use the Off-Highway Vehicle Grant Program. Ask them, what makes you think that you should do that? A year and a half ago, we had agreed language with them where we were going to classify those bigger vehicles as something else. And here they are again coming at us trying to get them classified as an ATV. So that way they would have the same trails as brand new riders or families just trying to enjoy off-roading with their four-wheelers and their dirt bikes. Now, to be really clear, A.B.A.T.E of Illinois does support the rights of side-by-sides of UTVs and that. What we don't support is them using the exact same trails as these ATVs that are protected. We believe in separate trail development for them. We believe in trying to push for other avenues for them. I had some questions about that last week, so I thought I would clarify what it is. We do support side-by-sides, we do support UTVs, but we do not support them being on these protected trails that are specifically paid for by people who use four-wheelers and dirt bikes. So that's the difference there. Other things that are going on at the State House. I meant to mention this a little bit earlier, but we're going to just mention it here. We have a profiling bill, finally. Lance Yednock introduced House Bill 2617. It updates state police training to include motorcycle profiling. A definition of it talks about motorcycle gear, talks about the fact that you're riding a motorcycle. Can't be used against you. And where that comes into play is we've had issues. We've had issues where, oh, these are a group of sport bike guys, we're going to start trailing them. I had a guy here in Springfield that was encountered head on because a cop had heard a complaint of a sport bike guy doing wheelies, and he just happened to be in the same 2 mile neighborhood. And he was confronted head on. Literally, the officer charged him head on with their squad car. Obviously, it wasn't him, was a whole different guy, but yeah, that was some fun. But they just used the fact that he was on a sport bike to initiate that stop. Then, of course, we have the clothing issue. I've talked about Harvard. I've talked about Hebron. I passed through there this past weekend. They used to have an ordinance where if you were wearing a vest, hey, congratulations, you could be found disorderly conduct, possibly put in jail. Yay. Fortunately, those are now gone through the work that we've done. But Lance Yednock, Representative Yednock, has introduced House Bill 2617, and we thank him for that. Problem is, 2 days later, he also introduced House Bill 3241, which expands the use of ethanol 15, E15. 15% ethanol is an issue for all motorcyclists, particularly because our motors are not made to run on it. And what we find is that when you expand ethanol, you do away with lower ethanol fuels, which are the only fuels motorcycles can use. And when I say the only fuels that we can use, it's the only thing our engines are certified for. But on top of that, federal law says if your engine is not certified for it, you can't use it. So we need access to that lower ethanol fuel in order to stay compliant and to protect our motors. But unfortunately, House Bill 3241 would cause us some issues there. Which is all to say, these are many of the issues we're following. Trailer plates, profiling, off-road, ethanol, issues with autonomous vehicles. I'm sure we're going to be facing that again. That all ties into Lobby Day, April 14th. We are doing Lobby Day. We are doing the reception here in Springfield later on, April 14th. We're going to be doing it in a mixed indoor-outdoor setting at the Statehouse Inn. What we will not be doing is actually going into the Statehouse itself. We're going to be encouraging people to set up Zoom meetings and to do phone call meetings with legislators on April 14th. I'm going to be working with region coordinators, with legislative coordinators, people on the political action committees to set this up. And you can do these down here in Springfield and then see your legislator later on in the evening at that reception, or you can do it from home. But this is the way that we're going. This was voted on by the board of directors. And so that's what we're going with. So that's what's happening there. That's Lobby Day for us. The Freedom Rally is going to be May 2nd. Going back to where we started, we had Easy Rider was played at the beginning, and I asked who the designer was, or asked what the connection was to African American History Month. Brett Newth, Tracy Matherly, a few other people mentioned about Cliff Sonny Vause. Cliff was the designer of the Captain American bike. He built it with his two friends of his. Cliff was not recognized for his contributions for 40 years. It was the 40th anniversary of the movie where this was recognized. Something else that's very interesting, Cliff was a member of Chosen Few MC out in California. Chosen Few is believed to be one of the oldest integrated motorcycle clubs in the United States. And that's something that I just wanted to hit upon. Chosen Few holds that distinction, but that's something that we all need to be working towards. I think that the African American Motorcycle Club community is starting to come around to understand that, profiling issues hit everybody. We need to do more for reaching out on that. I would like to see more African American clubs step up and be a part of ABATE and bring more voices to it. We have some chapters that do this really well. I'd like to see more. It is time to unite, everybody united. If you ride, ABATE of Illinois is for you, period. Doesn't matter if you ride a sport bike, doesn't matter if you ride in a club, doesn't matter if it's a Christian club, doesn't matter if it's a 1% club, doesn't matter if you're on a Harley, BMW. If you ride, we are the organization for you. Those of you that have been working on getting that message out there, I greatly appreciate it. I don't see any questions tonight down there in the comments. There is, Tracy did mention, there is a documentary on Chosen Few out there. Not seeing any comments. I hope to see everybody at Steel this weekend. Look forward to it. Tracy, since you were the closest as to the issue, you've got a special prize coming your way. Other than that, I will see everybody this weekend. Have fun. Be safe. We will see you next week, Tuesday night, since it's the first week of the month. It'll be Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Until then, have fun.